I don't know why everything is so slow. Okay, with all this, I don't know what's going to happen today, but we'll start. It's going live. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let me share my screen and go to PowerPoint and see where I am. Slideshow. Okay, I have to share. Just a second. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So let me see how this goes. We may have to do this in two classes, but I'm just going to give you an intro to 5th chapter in Shankara, from the Shankara Bhashya. Before I do that, let me start this with a prayer. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Paramastu. We ended this 4th chapter stating that Tasmad Ajnana Sambhutam Hristam Jnanasinatmanaha Chitvainam Sanshayam Yogam Atishtottishta Bharata. Here Shankaracharya says, using the sword of Jnana, which is of the form of Samyak Darshana, or true sight, or true knowledge, using that sword, destroy the Ajnana within, and then do yoga, yoga matishtottishta, chitva yenam samshayam, using the sword, cut off the doubt which you have within you, which will destroy you if you don't cut that doubt out. That is, you have to destroy that doubt which is destroying you. Then do karma yoga, which is the method, which is the sadhana, samyak darshana upaya. It is the method to achieve true vision, true knowledge. So you have to do karma yoga. Fight in the war, and then you will be ready for jnana eventually. This is what the 4th chapter, this is what is said in the 1st chapter. I'm not going to go regarding the problem and other things, what kind of problem may exist in this. Is it in my mind, or is there a real problem in the commentary or anything like that? We will take care of that later. This time, we'll just go to the introduction to 5th chapter. In this, wait a minute, whether this is the right one, I'm just checking. Okay. Arjuna asks in the first shloka itself, the meaning of Arjuna's shloka. The first shloka is Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam Cha Shamshasi Echreya Yetayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam. I didn't write the shloka here. Usually I should have written the shloka. The reason why I didn't write the shloka here is Shankaracharya starts with a big introduction to 5th chapter. So in the introduction, there is no, before the shloka starts itself, the introduction is starting. So I did not put the shloka there. You can always refer to the shloka out, in your, somewhere else, right? So the shloka says, this is the book I have here. Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shamshasi yachreya yetayorekam tanme bruhi sunishitam. This is the question asked by Arjuna. So Shankaracharya explains that, in several shlokas, O Krishna, you have extolled the Jnana. That means you have said Jnana is very important, Jnana is the way to go, and Jnana has to be achieved. So you have extolled Jnana. Jnana is better than Nahi Jnanena Sadrisham Pavitram Iha Vidyate. Here, it's very clear that there is nothing so sacred like Jnana here anywhere in this universe. So you have said that. Right? Give me just a second. At the end of the 4th chapter, Lord Krishna has asked Arjuna to go and fight. That is, do Karma Yoga. Uttishta, right? He says, what does he say in the last shloka? Tasmad Jnana Sambhutam Hristam Jnanasinatmanaha Chitva Yenam Samshayam Yogam Atishto Tishta Bharata. Yogam Atishta. Do yoga. Get up. That's what Lord Krishna said. So at the end of the 4th chapter, he said, do Karma Yoga. Do Karma Yoga. But prior to that, in many places, Krishna has extolled Jnana Yoga. So Shankaracharya states, you cannot order somebody to stay right there, don't move. No, just walk. Can these two statements be said to the same person? At the same time, can he walk and stay quiet somewhere? No, he cannot. So, nor did he say, Lord Krishna say, okay, you first stay quiet and then walk. Or you first walk and then stop somewhere and don't move. Did he say that one after the other? He did not. So, clearly Arjuna's question as whether I should take up karma or jnana is justified. But there could be an objection to this. This question is not appropriate. Shankaracharya himself raises, look, somebody can question whether this question of Arjuna is right or is right, because it doesn't seem like it is right. Why? Sri Krishna has advised an Atmagyani to give up karmas and not others. So in the past chapters, an Atmagyani is advised to give up karmas. But for an ignorant person, that is, who is not an Atmagyani, he may be very knowledgeable, he may have 3 PhDs, and he may be the most brilliant person and all those things, but he may not be an Atmagyani. For such a person, he should continue with the karma. That's what Krishna has said. Hence, Arjuna's question that which one is better does not make sense, because karma is advised for a ignorant person, who is not Atmagyani, and jnana is advised for a Atmagyani. So these two instructions are two separate, refer to separate type of people. Hence, the question of Arjuna does not make sense at all. Okay, I don't want to go too much because you have to follow the logic. Let me open up for question answers right away. Let me know if you have any questions.
Right now, you said, Krishna, there is a question. Krishna is actually addressing advising an Atmagyani to give up karma. Why does he have to advise an Atmagyani when he's already an Atmagyani?
See, in the prior shlokas, right, what Krishna has said is Atmagyani does not have any karma. Right now, according to Shankaracharya, There is no Atmagyani sitting in front. According to Shankaracharya, Arjuna is not an Atmagyani. So he is not telling Arjuna, but somebody who is an Atmagyani does not have any karmas. He will give up karmas.
Okay, he is just referring to an Atmagyani here.
He is referring to Atmagyani because earlier in the second chapter, that will come up. Shankaracharya mentions where in the second chapter Krishna talks about no karma for an Atmagyani. He refers, so the thing is, in the Sankhya Yoga areas, number of shlokas comes up, Katam Sampurusha Partha Kam Ghatayati Hantikam. That means Veda Avinashanam Nityam, Yayenam Majam Abhyayam. One who knows that he is Avinashi, that is, he does not have any destruction, and other details of Atma, who is Nishkriya, that means he does not do any action, he is not involved in any action. Once a person knows, why would he fight? Whom will he kill? And how can he get killed? This is what the Veda Avinashanam shloka says in the second chapter. So he mentions that Atmagyani has no Kriya earlier. Understood?
Okay. He's actually saying, Arjuna, you are not an Atmagyani, so follow karma.
Correct. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana is said to Arjuna. According to Shankaracharya, Karmanyevadhikaraste does not refer to an Atmagyani, because Atmagyani cannot do karma. He is already Nishkriya. He is already realized.
Okay, Krishna.
Do you understand?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other question? So everything in this slide which you are seeing is clear to you?
Krishna, I have one question.
Okay.
How do we know that this is referring to an Atmagyani?
Where?
This particular shloka, when he is referring to a Gnana Yogi, how is it that directly it is equated to a Atmagyani here?
See, here, what is the question? The question is Arjuna's question, right?
Yes.
What is the question? You need to see the question. Okay, everybody should see the question. Let me open up the question. Okay, let me open up the Gita super site, and I'll show you the question. I'm just opening it up. 5.1, right? I didn't prepare very well today. I should have. Can you see the screen here?
Yes.
Yes.
So can you see 5.1? Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shamshasi echraya yeti olekam tanme bruhi sunishitam. This is what the shloka is, right? This is Arjuna's question to Lord Krishna, to Sri Krishna, right?
Yes.
All he is saying is sannyasam. He doesn't refer to Atmagyani or anything here in the Arjuna's question. You don't see any such Atmagyani, Anatmagyani is not said here. What he says is, Krishna, you have told me earlier, couple of times in some shlokas, to give up karma, sannyasam karmanam. That means to give up karma. Punaryogam cha shamshasi. In the last fourth chapter ending, you said yogamatishta bharata, yogamatishta, get up and start the yoga. That is, go to fight. That's what you're saying. You are praising yoga on one side, and you are praising giving up karmas on the other side. What is a better between these two? Tanme bruhi sunishitam. Give me that information decidedly. Which one is better? Did you see that here there is no reference to a Atmagyani or Atmagyani or something? All Arjuna is saying is, oh Krishna, you told me till now, from the second chapter onwards, you have been telling me a number of things. Couple of shlokas seem to indicate that sannyasa or karma sannyasa is better. That is, giving up karmas is better. Some of the last shloka finally in the 4th chapter, you said that go ahead with the fight. This is karma yoga. I am confused. Tell me what to do. Which one is better? Is it all right?
Yeah, this is correct. This is all right. This is all right. But Shankara's reply, what he has told is, whomever I am referring to do karma is not a Atmagyani.
See, can you see my slide? This is the, wait a minute. So this is what Shankaracharya is saying is, first trying to understand the question of Arjuna. Let us go take step by step, right? Here in the, what do you call, Shankaracharya is explaining the question of Arjuna. He says, is this question justified? Is a question, right? But first he explains the question. The first, you can see at the end of 4th chapter, Lord Krishna has asked me to fight. Earlier, oh Krishna, you have told me that karma sannyasa is better, sannyasa is better. So both these two instructions are opposite to each other and cannot be applied to the same person at the same time. So tell me which one to do. Shankaracharya himself says, this question, some people may object to this question saying that in the law, that is in the previous chapters, in Shankara Bhashya, clearly, according to Shankara Bhashya, Krishna has advised Atmagyanis to give up karmas and Ajnanis to do karma yoga. This is said according to Shankaracharya. If you look at it, there are some slokas supporting that, right? 3rd chapter, 1st shloka. If you have, okay, the 3rd chapter, the answer of Lord Krishna, of Sri Krishna, that is 3rd verse. Lokesmin dvivida anishta pura prokta mayanaga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. There are 2 types of aspirants. I'm reading only Shankara Bhashya type of view here. I have been, I have told you before, Arjuna, that in this world there are 2 types of aspirants. One is, one set follows Sankhya Yoga, they are Jnana Yogis, and the other people follow Karma Yoga, and they are known as Yogis. So these are the 2 types of aspirants, sadhakas, right? So it is said earlier, here and there, karma is not advised to a Jnana Yogi. That is what Shankaracharya determines in the 2nd chapter also, right?
So it means to say that there are 2 kinds of aspirants.
Yes.
So that means they are still aspiring. They have not reached the goal still.
Yeah, they have not reached the goal.
Okay.
But
so it, yeah.
See, for Shankaracharya, Jnani has reached the goal in a way. But what is missing for Jnani? Prarabdha is still alive. Prarabdha karmas cannot be burnt off, right? In the 4th chapter, we learned that. In the quiz also, many people answer differently. The option 2 is better, is the correct one. I'm just telling you. Earlier, many people might not have, it's up to them. So what it is for a Jnana Yoga, for a Shankaracharya, even for a Jnani, all karmas are burnt except the Prarabdha karma which started the present body. The present body will not fall off. So he may be still doing action, but those actions will not accrue more papas to him. So there is no bondage due to those actions. But till the body falls off, Prarabdha has to be burnt off. So Prarabdha is still there for a Jnani. But he does not have to do any karma yoga or anything. There is no sadhana needed for him. He's already reached the goal. So Jnana Yogi is not a sadhaka for Shankaracharya.
But it is clearly mentioned that there are two ways, right?
There are two ways. You should take it as, think about it. Say, what is it? Where were we? Third chapter, right? It is good that you're asking questions because this will it will give you a better view of the Bhagavad Gita. See, Bhagavad Gita is not, it is a connected instruction, right? That is the first chapter, second chapter. Every chapter information is connected with each other. So you cannot miss the link. If you miss the link, later on you will not understand. So I want all of you to think very clearly, ask more questions, be clear. Conceptually, you should have a very clear idea. Okay,
Krishna, you just saying the Jnana Yogi versus Jnani, you're drawing a distinction. Jnani is the one that has already reached. Jnana Yogi is the aspirant.
See, Shankaracharya says, Jnanameva yogaha jnana yogaha tatra. That means yoga, see, he says that yoga is just loosely used. Jnana yoga is not a path. It's just like Jnani only. It is Jnani for Shankaracharya.
Then what about the entire the lecture about Sankhya in the second chapter and from
see, think about it in this way, right? Okay, I wrote you may need this. I didn't want to show you this PowerPoint. You're forcing me, but I will show it to you. Hold on a second. Why is it not? Okay. Slideshow for me. My computer is very slow today. Okay. Do you see this? Oops.
You do.
There's a picture here, right?
Yes.
Do you see arrows all over the place?
Yes, we are seeing.
Okay. See, think about from the left side. You start from the left side, Karma Yoga, right? From Karma Yoga, what happens? Chitta Shuddhi will occur, right? From Chitta Shuddhi, the karmas are burnt. That is, the past karmas, everything are burnt. But for Karma Yoga, the burning is slow process, right? Not everything is burnt. It only purifies the mind and also burns karma, even for Shankaracharya here. The purity of mind will allow or facilitate Jnana to come in, right? Do you understand till now?
So does it mean that once the mind is purified, there is no further contemplation on the Atman? There is just a flash immediately.
Just a flash to Shankaracharya, but let me correct here. Suppose, see, when somebody does Karma Yoga, can he do Karma Yoga completely? He will just do a couple of days of Karma Yoga or 3 months of Karma Yoga, right? So will his mind be purified 100%? No, there will be little bit purification. But that will give a little bit of jnana to him. Okay? That little bit of jnana will not be sufficient. So that will not be able to completely remove his ignorance. He has to go back to Karma Yoga. So someday, this cycle goes on and on for several janmas. Someday, his Chitta Shuddhi is 100%. Do you understand?
Kalenatmani vindati.
Yes. Kale, okay, very good, very good verse you told me. I have to go back to the verse in 4th chapter. We have to explain that properly because everybody should understand what is this. Kalenatmani vindati is here. Where is that? See, there is a big difference Shankaracharya talks about there, right? Oh, very good. I got it. You should see Shankara Bhashya here very clearly. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddha kaleena atmani vindati. We should pick up that particular verse. It's extremely important to see. Okay. What is the number? It is 438.
38, yes.
Here, I will just open up Shankara Bhashya here. And we'll see what Shankaracharya. See here says, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram shuddhikaram iha vidyate. There is nothing sacred and purifying like jnana. Tad jnanam swayameva yoga samsiddha yogena karma yogena samadhi yogena cha samsiddha. That means how does that person get jnana? Yoga samsiddha through karma yoga and samadhi yoga. By practice of samadhi, that person gets yogyata mapanna, he gets eligibility, requirement, prerequisites. It's just like he is finishing up the prerequisites after doing so many years and janmas of karma yoga. Apanahasan, mumukshuhu. So he, many people can do karma yoga and stray away just to get some siddhi or some other, intermediate result. But he has to be mumukshu, not go after some other intermediate result or phala, fruit. Mumukshu kalena mahata. Look at this word mahata. Kalena atmani vindati is what Lord Krishna says. Yoga samsiddha. Kalena atmani vindati. Kalena means mahata kalena. Because it takes a long time. Atmani vindati labhate ityartaha. Ena ekant. Did you understand? Shankaracharya very clear says, whatever you do through karma yoga and samadhi yoga takes a long time because you have to get eligibility, Chitta Shuddhi, which is of 100% Chitta Shuddhi kind of a thing, not just a little bit Chitta Shuddhi. Today, I will do some karma yoga, I'll just go take some money and give some charity to somebody, and I will not ask for anything. I will do it as a offering or a worship of Lord, nothing, a worship of, Bhagavan. Do you think suddenly my mind is completely pure? We have accumulated impurities from the last millions and millions of births. And those kind of impurities will not be burnt by just 2-3 days of karma yoga. It has to be perfected. That is why we have this Shariratma Brahma. We think that this body is us and we are deluded. This delusion has to go. That means that karma yoga practice to purify mind should continue. And eventually, Kalena Mahata. See, the thing is, here, Shankaracharya, look at another verse I tell you here. Achirenadhigacchati. Where is that word achirenadhigacchati? Did you find that? Let me find that. Because that
is also in chapter 4. I forget the verse. I'll tell you in a minute.
Next to Sloka itself will have it.
Thank you. This is right here. Let's get to that. It's very, very important you mentioned this because this shows Shankaracharya how he thinks. Think about it. The previous verse, Yoga Samsiddha, that became Kalena Atmani Vindati, and that Kalena is explained as it takes a long time. So the Karma Yoga process is very long. Shraddhavan Labate, Jnanam, I've already explained the shloka. I will not go through complete shloka. But what Shankaracharya says is, a person who has Shraddha or interest, severe interest, Jnanam labhate, achieves Jnana, tat paraha samyatendriya. That too a person with restrained senses, who has got victory over his senses. Jnanam labdva param, once he gets Jnana, param shantim achirena adhigachyati. Immediately, without kshiprameva, Shankaracharya says, Jnanam labdva param mokshakyam shantim. Once a person gets Jnana, param mokshakyam shantim, uparatim, that is peace, achirena adhigachyati, kshiprameva adhigachyati. That means immediately he will get. That kshipra.
Yeah, here he says labdva, right? After having achieved jnanam, achirenadi adhikachati.
Correct.
To get it, that may still take mahata kalani.
See, to get that jnana, okay. Oh, that's a good question you asked. But what it is if a person, on the other hand, maybe a karma yogi who is already worked for some time, but if he is very shraddhavan, that means he has got a lot of interest, and he is not an inactive person, he will not wait for a long time. Well, I'm not in a mood to ask, or why should I ask? Maybe the what do you call, Acharya may say no, and if he say no, I will get very upset because he is ill-treating me. So I will not ask this question at all to Acharya. He doesn't do that. He is not a mandaprasthana. He is not
this Shraddha in this shloka 439 can only go to shorten the Mahata Kala in the 438.
Correct. The Shraddha will see, this guy is very careful. He will find a time for the Guru. I even mentioned how Swami Kesvi Swami learned to Tarka when his Guru said he does not have time. He walked with him to the university and found out and learned. So, how to approach a Guru, how to talk, how to ask question, and also be very constant with it. Then he has to be a winner of all the sensual perversion, sensual distractions. Such a person, his time to get moksha is shortened because his jnana will come, because he will talk to a tattvadarshi, jnani, who will guide him to get jnana. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. They will tell you the right method. It is not obtained by reading textbooks. A jnani is who is already realized. He will solve your questions, solve your doubts. He will burn your doubts. He will instruct you the right things. And then jnanam ladha, once you get that jnana, you will immediately get moksha. Achirena here only means not long, not too long. Kshipram is fast, very, very soon. Basically, they are saying that lifetime has to, the prarabdha has to go, that body has to go. So that is why it is not said as instantaneous. It is not like somebody got jnana and instantly, boom, he's gone, right? Not like that. His body has to fall off. That way he has some more time to teach others, do Loka Sangraha. All the actions will not incur sin, papa for him. So he can do any kind of work and nothing will happen to him. Do you understand?
Can we go back to 4.38, that Shankara Bhashya? Previous one.
Okay.
In that, while you were reading that Bhashya, you told after karma, there is something like a samadhi, right?
Samadhi yoga.
What is the samadhi yoga?
See, the thing is, samadhi yoga is a practice which is not explained here. Let me see. Samadhi yogena samsiddha is there. Shankara Bhashya is said, and the problem with the later authors, there is no uniqueness or who exactly wrote a Bhashya. Anandagiri wrote a Bhashya. He wrote it so many years later. And then Sridhara Swami wrote another Bhashya. He wrote long time later. Madhusudana Saraswati wrote long time later. And they don't, somehow the later authors, I'm not very sure of what they explain for Samadhi Yoga. We can check it, okay? But it's, all I understand out of it is, Ashtanga Yoga has a Samadhi as one of the last, this one, right? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, right? The Samadhi is Samadhi, Samata, Avastha, Jivatma, Paramatmanoho, they say. Samadhi means the mind has to constantly focus on Lord. So there is an effort, there is an upasana, there is something, there is an upasana here. Upasana is a manasika kriya. It is still action according to Shankaracharya. So Samadhi may be one of the mature portions of upasana for Shankaracharya. So
maybe he is the person who is actually the real sannyasi?
No. See, sannyasi is a sannyasi is the who has already got the samadhi and finished it, right? He's already got the jnana.
What I'm trying to do that whomever Krishna refers as Sankhya, Jnana Yoga for Sankhyas. So is the Sankhya the person who is actually qualified to do this Samadhi Yoga?
No, beyond him. Samadhi Yoga is still getting there. The Jnani, a Sankhya Yoga is for Jnani himself. That Jnani is, he's already got the Jnana. Here, think about this verse. This verse is saying, who gets the Jnana? Jnana is the most sacred here, most purifying. And that Jnana is attained by a Yoga Samsiddha after his Samadhi Yoga after a long time. That means once he attained, he becomes a Jnani, and that Jnani himself is a Sankhya Yogi.
Okay, apart from all these things, we also know that in general, we have heard that according to the Advaita school or Shankara school of thought, they give prominence to Gnana Marga as the path of liberation.
See, the word Marga should be careful about it. We should see, I asked this question earlier. Upasana, does this belong to Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga according to Shankaracharya? Many people thought Upasana is a Jnana Yoga. That is not true. Upasana for Shankaracharya is a Manasika Kriya. It is an action through mind, and that is still an action, and that falls into the category of Karma Yoga and not Jnana Yoga. So for him, Upasana does not come in the Jnana section at all. In the Jnana, it is Jnanameva Yoga, Jnana Yoga. If you look at this Jnana Yogena Sankhyana, look at the verse, the third verse we talked about earlier, right? Lokesmin Dvivida Nishta, Karma Yogena, Karmaiva Yoga, Karma Yoga, right? Jnana Yogena, Jnanameva Yoga, Tena Sankhyanam. Jnana itself is yoga. The jnana is come just like that.
Then it means, then what it means to say is directly from Karma Yoga, he'll become an Atmagyani.
But Karma Yoga takes a long time, right?
No, accepted. But it also means that from Karma Yoga, he'll directly get Atmagyana.
Correct. What is the final stage of Karma Yoga? I have told you before earlier, and it is all I mentioned that it is said in the 18th chapter. What is the final stage of Karma Yoga according to Shankaracharya? Anybody remembers?
Jnana.
No, that this thing, Bhakti,
Jnana is Jnana itself, right? That becomes, it is Bhakti. Then what in Bhakti? What is the final stage?
Tameva Sharanam Gaccha Sarva Bhavena Bharata. Tvatprasadat Param Shanti.
Correct.
No,
that is 1862. Tameva Sharanam Gaccha. See, you should, unfortunately, they did not, okay, yeah, oh my God. One second. I will mention where it is said that this is the highest level of karma yoga. Tameva Ishwaram Sharanam Ashyam Samsarate Harnatam Gacha Ashraya Sarva Bhavena. In every way, in all forms, go and surrender that Ishwara. And only when you get the prasada or blessings by the blessings, right? Prasada is a blessing the right word for prasada? It's I have to think about it. Prasada, Ishwara Anugraha. Anugraha is the right word.
There is a word called
what?
There is a word called grace. I don't know whether it is equal.
Grace is correct. Grace is correct. Ishwara's, actually that is a good word. Ishwara's grace will, by Ishwara's grace, you will get the Shanti. That is the ultimate peace. Mama Vishnu Paramam Padam Prapsyasi Shashvatam Nityam. You get this, endless, eternal state. This is Jnana only here. Only through Sharnagati he will get the blessings. By Ishwara Anugraha he will get Jnana. So in the earlier portion, in the second chapter, this grace and everything is not explained properly, but only in one way, Machittaha, Yukta Asita Matparaha is said in the second chapter. There you have to say that somehow grace get involved here. So the bhakti aspect is only mentioned here and there in Shankara Bhashya. That's all.
This is Prashant here. I was just going through the introduction by Shankaracharya on the 5th chapter. So Shankaracharya mentions that for a person like Arjuna, who is a non-self-knower at that moment, for him the question is still relevant. The question that whether Karma Yoga or the path of renunciation, the Jnana Yoga is better. So it is relevant. For a person who is a self-knower, for that person it is irrelevant, because for him it's not possible to follow any karma yoga, because he is already in a only renunciation is possible. And for a person like Arjuna, renunciation would be inferior compared to a person who is a self-knower. So for him karma yoga will still be the best,
because we will come to that. All these things will become clear later on anyway, don't worry. So Keshavan, you wanted to ask some question?
No, sorry, I raised my hand.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I raised my hand by mistake. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Who else? Sudarshan?
Krishna ji, if we were to assume if somebody is a Jnani, then they have no more questions. I was thinking about this, Arvar Swami was saying during Sri Bhashya, that like there was a person who has a question about who's Brahman, and then the father says, and then he comes back and says, Anna is the Brahman, and then he goes back, okay, do some more. And then he comes back and says Prana is Brahman, and then it keeps on going, and then finally he comes back with no questions, like he doesn't even come back with questions. So the mere fact that Arjuna asks a question means that he's not a Jnani, so he has to follow karma. So when you're a Jnani, then you won't have any more questions, right? So can we assume it that way?
Yes, you're right. Because Jnani does not have any questions, because he already knows it. He already realized about Brahman, and he identifies himself as Brahman. So he has no questions.
Yeah, so that makes it easy for understanding the question of like why Arjuna is asking question, and then Krishna immediately says you have to follow.
Then the question comes up: is there any example in the entire gamut of Itihasa, Purana, Mahabharata and all, where a Jnani is asking a question, right? We have to find out and make sure that there is no Jnani who has asked any question.
The Jnanis might ask a question for the sake of answering somebody, but rather than asking a question for answering themselves, right?
Well, I can turn that against you. You can say Arjuna is a Jnani and he is trying to ask a question so that people like me who is a Jnani can understand.
Krishna, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's not that Arjuna doesn't understand and has to ask 700 questions and answers. You know, he is just Loka Sangraha, he is maybe asking questions.
See, this is a very powerful argument because Ananta Krishna Shastri, Mahamahopadhyaya Ananta Krishna Shastri mentions in his Advaita Tattva Sudha that don't forget who Arjuna is. Arjuna is Rishi Nara and Krishna is Rishi Narayana. Those two are in the form of the mountains in North India. There, one is a Rishi Narayana and one is the other is Nara, and that Badri Narayana temple represents that, right? So, this is just a to help other people. These two rishis came and participated. This is an Advaita view, by the way. N.S. Ananta Krishna Shastri mentions this.
So Krishna, I was thinking, you talked about Dakshinamurti not even opening his lips, but communicating by just mere glance. Right. Krishna is no less. He could have just wiped away Arjuna's thing in 1 millisecond and Arjuna would have gone on to fight. This is for exactly. Our Shankaracharya.
This is only for, so that is why Nimitta Matram Bhavasavya Sachin, where in the 11th chapter, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, these people are already dead. I can see them dead already. You just be a nimitta, a cause. Go ahead and fight. I already know these people are dead anyway. So this whole thing, you're just a nimitta. That nimitta word, particularly from Madhvacharya and other acharyas, they say this nimitta is Arjuna is asking all these questions only to make sure all of us here who are bound in samsara today can get some good jnana. So that's a very powerful argument there.
Thank you, Krishnaji.
One more thing, Krishna. The question which Arjuna is asking in the beginning of 3rd chapter, and now maybe it looks the same. Maybe it looks as though he is in the same state. But certainly from the answer of Bhagavan, I think there's a difference.
Correct. The question looks very similar. Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojasi keshava. If you think that Jnana is superior to karma, why are you asking me to fight and making me go through this horrible, war? Yes, question looks very similar.
But the answer is different, actually.
Answer is different. Question is slightly Sannyasam Karamanam Krishna Punayogam Chashamshasi. You are praising both. Echre Ekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam. Actually, in the previous verse, Lord Krishna asked Arjuna to go fight. So I think the sequence is very, very similar. So here only Arjuna is asking for clarification. Sunishchitam, Bruhit, clearly say which one is better. There, it's more like he is asking, why are you making me go through this war? Horrible war. And there he has already decided, Arjuna has understood that Sankhya Yoga, Brahma Nirvana, Sthita Prajnata, that's all superior to Karma Yoga. He has already assumed it a little bit, right? Because he says, if you already think that, and he says, Krishna himself knows that Jnana is superior to Karma. They're similar in a way. Needs a lot more research to find out if there is a big difference.
How do the three acharyas approach the same question? If they are similar, like that will tell us what it is.
Yeah. There's a big difference between the acharyas. See, in the first 6 chapters, you find Ramanuja.org taking a very different approach, and Shankaracharya and Madhvacharya take similar approach, but they differ from each other in terms of Bheda of Jiva and Paramatma Bheda. Shankaracharya takes it differently as Abheda, and Madhvacharya takes it as they can never become one. They are always separate. And Bhakti is the ultimate for Madhvacharya. But the trend of the shlokas, Madhvacharya takes it similar to Shankaracharya, that we will discuss again when we have already discussed long time back, but we'll look at it again. So now we know Bhagavad Gita is not very easy, right?
It is easy. We got a very good teacher.
I'm struggling every day. I'm thinking, oh my God, what is this question? In fact, I didn't want to even tell you the questions I had. In this particular thing, I have a very big question, but it's going to solve itself eventually. But at the time, I had written my question deeply. Do you know what the question is? Maybe I should tell you. Maybe I should tell you what the question, because there's still an open question in my mind. But I'll just tell you the question anyway, right? Say, look at this picture here. Can you look at this picture? Is that clear, or I should make it bigger?
I had one question.
Tell me.
Maybe maybe it's not really good, maybe a stupid question, but I was just thinking, we follow karma yoga to get the chitta purified, and then the karmas get burnt. Or is it that the purification of chitta and karma, burning the karmas, are very close, like those are indifferentiable?
Very good question. But the thing is, see, it's a indirectly what you're asking is Jnana one shot, right? Does
Yes.
Jnana come one shot? Once Jnana comes, there is no going back to doubts and things like that, right?
Yes.
What you're asking?
Yeah, that is the question.
See, that's what I feel is right. But till now, as far as I understand, according to Shankaracharya, we're only talking about Shankaracharya. According to Shankaracharya, Jnana comes in one shot. It doesn't come in slowly. But purification, it is like think about it. There are like you remember if you sit in a eye doctor's place in a hospital there, clinic, he puts so many different filters in front of you and asks you to, he keeps on rotating different filters and asks you to see from somewhere. If you say, can you see this? Is this clear? And all those things, right? Think about it. If there are 25 filters in front of you, all are opaque. That means you are seeing something through a scope, and there are 25 filters, all are dark. If one filter is removed, you still cannot see. If you remove 10 filters, you still cannot see, because there are 25 filters in front of you which are all opaque. But if the 25th filter is removed, you suddenly see, right? This is something like that.
Yeah.
For Shankaracharya, Jnani is one shot. And Chitta Shuddhi occurs over time. So you cannot find much difference between, maybe there is some kind of a mental clarity, which a person with less number of filters in front of him may have less, better clarity or a little bit closer to clarity or something like that. Maybe his mind is more controlled than the other person. A person who has only 2 filters left may have better control over mind. That's all. Any other questions?
Thank you.
I have one question, Krishnaji. So if we think about the story about Narada, about who is the best bhakta in the world, and then Mahavishnu makes him being born again, and then he gets caught in the whole thing. So does it mean that he has the capacity to add filters again?
He has the capacity to
add those filters that you were talking about to cloud your vision. Because when Narada says that I am the best bhakta in the world, and then Krishna says, oh no, that farmer is, and then because he says Narayana twice a day, morning and night, and then Narada doesn't accept, and then he makes Narada be born again, and then he gets caught in this whole thing. But he loses his jnana, right? So does it mean that Krishna has the power to add more filters whenever he wishes?
Yes, and also we should take that as Narada is a big jnani, right?
Yeah.
So this particular episode is enacted by Lord Krishna and Narada to show the world that even a big jnani can get ego and then fall.
Okay, so even after I'm becoming a jnani, then you may still get the filters back again. That's what it means, right? So unless you keep working on it.
Well, one thing, we are mixing 2 things here. That is a Puranic episode, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about Shankara Bhashya.
Yeah.
Shankara Bhashya has a particular view on everything. And Sri Shankaracharya will take a sword and cut it right there, and this is it. That's what I'm telling you. Whether it is in the Puranas, as per Shankaracharya, we have to say that Krishna has the power to, he's Ishwara, and he has all the power to put extra Ajnana to Narada. Why did that occur? It might have occurred to show, Narada could be a jnani, complete jnani, and then he might have been asked, this is a hard problem, because whether Shankaracharya allows jnani to take birth or not, right? Or jnani to come and show. In the Ramanuja Sampradaya, and I don't know about Madhva Sampradaya, but Ramanuja Sampradaya, even jnanis who have reached Vaikuntha can come back. To be a servant of the Lord, to enact the will of the Lord. So if Lord wills, he can send even Muktatmas to come down and work. So in Ramanuja Sampradaya, it's slightly different. In Shankara Sampradaya, I don't know how it works, because whether they allow rebirth of one person who has already realized completely, probably not. I have not heard of any such things, such episodes. Not till now. Maybe if we go do some research, we'll find out. See, one thing I'm finding out, to be honest, let me be honest with you, I'm learning as we go further. Every day I'm learning. I don't know many things. So I could be wrong also. So please check. You'll find a better guru somewhere, someday, soon, and you will know the right things.
This is Prashant. So even with respect to the Shankara Sampradaya, in that case also, this is just my perception, that a person who has realized, who is a mukta, even he can come back just for the well-being of the world and not for himself, like not getting into samsara, just for the benefit of the beings. Is it possible? This is just perception.
See, this is what you're saying is that you believe that even for a jnani, rebirth is allowed and then he can come to help other people, right?
Yes.
It's possible. It may be right. And I have to understand how that fits in the philosophy. According to, see, let me tell you why. According to philosophy, a jnani, the moment he gets jnana, all his karmas are burnt except the prarabdha, right? once the Prarabdha goes away, what will happen to the Jnani? He will become Atra Brahma Samashrute. He will become, he will become Brahman. Then how can you ask that person to come back and have a birth? It's hard. See, in the Shankara Bhashya, once one becomes Brahman, and that is it. That is Nirguna. There is no action there. There is no coming back. In fact, according to Shankaracharya, creation is not there. Creation is mithya. Rebirth is mithya. Everything is here is mithya, right? It is not at the level of. It is not at the level of Nirguna Brahman. Nirguna Brahman doesn't even know this world exists.
But Krishna, the Saguna Brahman is coming back for the benefit of the world. So that was.
Saguna Brahman can come back. Saguna Brahman can come back. But Saguna Brahman subjects are still not Jnanis. Whoever is under Saguna Brahman is not a Jnani. Because he can, a bhakta is still has to go and come back. Anybody who is a bhakta is not still a Jnani according to Shankaracharya. This is what I am understanding. We are discussing here, I may be wrong, but this is my understanding at this point. That that kind of coming back is possible in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, where he does not completely, directly accept oneness as Aikya. He doesn't, but the thing is, he says it could potentially be there or something like that. But still, he accepts number of lower levels, Sarupya, Salokya, Samipya, Sayujya. These are levels of what do you call Vaikuntha, right? This can be probably even accepted by Shankaracharya, that people with that level of Sarupya, Salokya can come back. That may be possible. Shankaracharya may agree with it. But what happens is they are still not 100% Jnanis. But in Ramanuja Sampradaya, they will be considered as Jnanis.
No, I think the biggest difference is in Ramanuja Sampradaya, you have this concept of Nitya Kankarya. So after, 10,000 years, if God says, hey, I want you to go down and do this thing for me, he can send you.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas in Shankaracharya's thing, there is no Kankarya because there is no two people. For you to say King Karomi, there has to be a second person to whom you can ask.
See, here also there is a problem. In the final versions of Ramanuja Sampradaya, in the Brahma Sutras, there is a little bit of Avibhagya and Drishtatva is there, very, very controversial, where there is no difference between Jiva and Brahman there. Then, but he restricts using the sutras that Bhogya Matra Samya Lingacha. That means they only in experience, Anubhava, Jiva and Paramatma have similarity, but they are not exactly identical. Jiva is not the Lord of the universe. So he separates, Jiva is separated out in a way, but still very close to Ishwara there, right? That's what it is. So there is definitely, you can say, in ordinary Sampradayic view, there is a difference, and he is doing Kankarya, and he can come back even after 10,000 years inside Vaikuntha, he can come back and do service to Lord in some way.
Yeah.
So even in Shankara Bhashya, any jiva can get the Satchit Ananda of the Brahman, the Aikya, but he will not get unfettered powers, the powers to like creation, destruction, and sustenance.
Correct. It is said there. Well, let us check it seriously some other day. Okay, I have to do some research there.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's stop here today because it's 9:36 now. I need to really do many things. I have not done anything yet today. Let us take up questions. If you have questions, write it up in the Telegram channel. We'll remember it. Is that okay? Hello?
Yes, fine.
Asmatgurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Paramagurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarvagurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna.
Thank you, Krishnaji.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.